Welcome to the episode. I'm so excited for my guest today, Karen. Karen is a sought after event designer and creative strategist known for redefining what luxury looks like in Florida's event industry. She is the founder of Joe Bell in Studio 131, and she's going to sit down and talk to us about creating collaborations, pivoting, how to think differently about wealth, how to get inspired in your business and stay that way, and how to set goals. We cover so much in this episode. So without further ado, let's dive in. Welcome to the Fox Talks Business Podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Fox, money mentor, business coach, and author. If you're a business owner who's been around the block but still feels stuck in the financial fog or hustling without getting real results, well, you're in the right place. Each week, I'm going to dive into money mastery, mindset shifts, and real-world strategies to help you grow and profit sustainably. You're going to hear unfiltered conversations, bold ideas, and practical, proven ways to start growing your business. So if you're ready to break past the plateau, make more, stress less, and have fun doing it, let's dive in. Hello, Foxy listeners. Welcome to the show today. I've already been having so much fun with our guest, with laughs and just sharing life experiences. So I know this is going to be a spectacular episode for you guys. We're going to be covering a lot of stuff. One of my favorite topics, which you guys know, is collaboration, but in a little bit of a different way. So let's dive in so you can understand exactly what I'm talking about. And Karen, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Now, I've kind of been deep diving you because I do that for guests, but give a little bit of background for you for those that are just meeting you for the first time.
Okay, well, I'm Karen. I own a wedding and event venue as well as a decor company in Largo, Florida. We specialize in beautiful luxury event design. We specialize in all types of decor. And some people consider us planners because we're good at it. But yeah, I prefer to do the decoration and walk away.
So in your business, because you have two successful businesses that you're doing, when you were doing this, like, talk to us a little bit about some of your mindset and strategies that you use, because we all know a lot of our listeners are entrepreneurs, so they know those kinds of ups and downs. But some of us kind of get stuck in the hole. So what are some of the things that you found really benefited you?
Yeah, I mean, juggling two businesses and kids is certainly overwhelming at times. And I remember specifically last summer, because summer in Florida is so hot, it's actually the off season, quite opposite to just about any other business in other locations. But it's kind of like winter in other places, just because it's disgusting. No one wants to go outside. But anyway, with that said, the money never lines up quite like you would want it to in the summer. So I was feeling massive stress last year, super anxious, not sure where the next thing was coming, not sure how I was going to meet my deadlines. And this is with an established business and something that's very successful. But with the more success you have and the more you scale, the more your expenses are. And then, whoa, all of a sudden, you're not just taking care of yourself and being like, oh, well, I'm not sure if I'll take a paycheck. It's more like the entire business and a lot of people you take care of. So when that started happening, I was like, I need to control my mindset, stop thinking with this poverty mindset that I grew up with, and really start thinking with clarity and a prosperity mindset. And I actually started doing hypnosis.
Okay.
Yeah. So hypnosis has been a really interesting strategy that I've incorporated into my mindset. Not only do I have a really rock solid morning routine where I have to get up at 5, 2 hours before my kids and plan the day, the week, the months, a 90-day plan, but I incorporated this hypnosis as well. And it's a lovely coach of mine that I have. She sends me recordings and she gives me like a book of things and exercises that I can do. And I just incorporate that into my morning routine. And if I'm feeling stressed, I will put it in several other times throughout the day. And basically, it's just giving me the time and permission for myself to slow down, take that deep breath, get out of panic, fight or flight mode, and start thinking with your real brain and your heart brain. We have 3 brains, your brain, your heart brain, and your gut brain. So, I mean, when you're really calm and relaxed, the best one to listen to is actually your gut. So, when we're panicking and running around, we don't listen to that and we get ourselves in trouble. Then we start just making up random ideas, taking clients we don't want, getting really in situations we wish we didn't get into because you're just panicking. When really, if you just sit with it for a little bit, close your eyes and kind of calm yourself, you're going to come up with a much bigger plan, which I actually did do. And I'm sure I'm going to tell you about that a little bit later.
Well, and I think for a lot of people, especially when we get, because entrepreneurs quite often fall into that trap of like, oh my God, like, where is the next, paycheck going to come from? Where is my next revenue going to come in? And so they kind of go into this, like you were saying, this, fright. It's not even flight because you can't run away from it. But you just kind of like, you're like, oh my God. And then you get into this situation where you just take anybody and everybody because you're so scared that you're not going to have money. And I know you had talked to, a little bit, had mentioned this, that, what made you kind of realize that not everybody, just because they have money, is the right everybody?
Oh, well, actually, it was through a lot of, learning through disappointment, I think. Um, I actually had to make a rule for myself and my business because we are all really hard workers. We all grew up really blue collar and we're like love to get sweaty and dirty and work and like do anything and everything. So I said, listen, there are minimums here. And I just made rules for myself. I made rules in several different aspects of my business because I had to set boundaries for myself. A lot of times when we're entrepreneurs, we want to please everyone, we want to do everything. Our bar is set up so high for ourselves. There's just like impossible expectations. So, without having to lower the bar, you can actually just respect your time and what you do a little bit better. And one of those was setting minimums for pricing. I don't let anyone pick up anything from me, no decor orders for less than $500, and I don't do any type of delivery or service for less than 1,000 because I have monetary goals I have to reach each month. And if I start taking on the smaller jobs, they take on as much of your time, if not more. Most often than not, it's more of your time for less money. So you're actually just saying to yourself that you're not valuable, you're not worth it, and your time is not important when you take on clients that are not at your price range or your level. Hey, so you may have a different type of business where, $25 is enough or 50. It doesn't matter. Every business is different, but you should set a bar for yourself. That, and I only take meetings 2 days a week now. I have meeting days and I have maker days. When you're an entrepreneur, you're building a business, you need time for yourself to strategize your business, grow your business, come up with a big plan, a 90-day plan, whatever, the big goal plan. You need time to dream. You need time to map out SOPs or map out the bigger parts of your business. You can't just answer the phone and take appointments and make calls and do every single thing every single day, especially if you have a team. So I'm very strict with myself on that too. If I have things on my calendar, they're organized and I stick with the plan. I don't go into panic mode. Just stick with the plan. And you know what? The most important people and the best clients will always wait.
Yeah.
They're going to be there for you.
Well, and I think we sort of set that, emergency. And I always say to a lot of my clients, hey, somebody else's emergency is not your urgency. Like, it's okay, and just because somebody sends you an email, it doesn't mean that something's on fire, right? Like, it's okay to leave it. They're
Not
not.
always.
I'm like, they're not. Well, that was a phone call though.
You
But
will get a call if there's a fire,
yeah,
yes.
we have this like idea, this weird idea that sometimes, entrepreneurs especially will put in their head of like, oh my God, they're waiting for a response. And I'm always like, I promise you, they're not sitting at their computer just hitting refresh, waiting for your email to return back in. And if they are, I promise you that is the wrong client.
That is not your ideal
That is not
client.
your idea. But I love the idea of setting that time because I do the same thing. I call them empire days, but every week I have a day that's it. Like, I don't take any meetings. I don't do, any paperwork or anything like that. It's just my planning day. And it's a
Yeah.
non-negotiable time because I fell into the trap of, somebody would have an emergency or, something came up. And the first thing I would give up is that my time, right? Because it was the easiest
Yes.
time to give up as opposed to going, I wouldn't do this for a client. Like I wouldn't bump one client to put another one in. I need to treat myself as a client and be like, no, I'm sorry, I'm booked on that day. I already have a meeting, you know,
Yeah.
with my biggest client.
Yes, with the most important one. If you're not okay, your clients are not okay. Your team is not okay. Your kids are not okay. The world really does fall apart without us. It's a real thing. Although on the counter end of that, if you find yourself getting super stressed out and things are just out of whack, no, I'm not saying avoid your problems. I'm saying pause them, take a break, even if it's a couple days, like on a staycation, get out of town for like 2 days, relax, refresh, and come back and get a good plan in order. Then go. People just, again, you got to get out of that panic, hustle, hustle, bustle thing. You just
Yeah.
got to.
And I
Hmm.
think, I always think of, walking around a house like searching for glasses, which I've done numerous times, and then just sat down and went, I don't know. I'm just not going to find them and be like, oh my God, they're on my head.
They're on your head.
Right. But I was so focused, right? You just get that hyper focus and just taking a moment to like step away and be like, okay, whatever, I'm not going to do that. Then sometimes the solution, it just pops up. And like you said, it's a lot easier to find because you're not sort of, you haven't sort of put the blinders on. You get to see the bigger picture. You get to come back and go, oh, how silly of me. The answer was
Yeah.
right there the whole time.
And it's so much easier that way. I find that entrepreneurs don't really like lack the drive to be good. So it's usually this kind of advice that I offer. There's certain people in the world that work hourly for someone else, and you're like, listen, you got to work harder. You got to do this. You got to do this. And it would be a complete opposite set of tasks and advice. But for people who have their own business, who have that drive, who are in overdrive all the time, I would definitely recommend always like slow down, take a step back, think with your level head, get grounded. A lot of people do breathing techniques. I like hypnosis, it works for me. I love yoga, dance, music, whatever kind of gets you into that relaxed state of mind. And I love doing florals and design. So that's my happy place. But I'll tell you what, if everybody starts saying, Karen, you got a call, you got a meeting, you got this, you got this, it messes me up and I don't want to do it anymore. So I have to remind myself that the reason I'm doing this business and the reason the business is successful is because I make really big, beautiful stuff. So if I don't make time to make really big, beautiful stuff, then the business is going to fail. It doesn't matter how many clients I have. So I think it's easy to lose perspective, especially as you're scaling and growing. It's easy to forget why you started in the first place. But you
Yeah.
got to make time for that. Make your time.
So how did you start incorporating collaboration into your business?
Well, honestly, I had one of my overload moments and I really shut down. I went into deep trance and took some time away because I thought with scaling the business, every time I hit that next level, there's always like 1,000 challenges and you realize you don't know anything and you have to start over. Every time you hit a new whatever revenue stream or add more team members or whenever you get to that next step, you basically have to start over. So when I got there, I was looking at it and I was like, listen, Karen, do you really want to keep building a massive team right now? Like, do you want to keep adding more employees? Or do you want to keep the ones you have, add a few more, maybe up to 10 or so, add a few more, but then like how does that scale? Because now I'm into other venues and I'm doing all their decor and all their planning and I'm, multiplying the business in a big way. And I'm like, well, how am I going to possibly wrap my brain around all of that? And I started getting a little frantic. And so again, I came to kind of shut it down a little bit. And I was like, I've been building my network and constantly doing networking meetings and really becoming a leader in my community because I have this venue. So I'm always inviting all these amazing vendors and planners and decorators into my space. So I had this light bulb moment that I was like, well, I need to build a program for this. And all of these planners are running around to random venues and having meetings at coffee shops and like meeting clients at their houses sometimes, like, ugh, just not professional settings. And it's really hard to build trust with the scamming nightmare of a world we're in right
Yes.
now. If people don't see you in real life, in person, and see what you have and physically can touch it and see it, they don't want to buy it. So I know that I have clients that thought they were renting one piece off of me, and after they came in and saw the inventory and a beautiful tablescape, they said, "I want that." So it turned it from a couple $100 to, thousands of dollars. And I said, "Well, anybody can do this. This isn't like a rocket science thing. It's just they don't have the tools or the space." So I created the home-based partner program, and basically it's kind of like hair salons, how you can rent a booth but you're all sharing one space.
Yeah.
Or I mean there's barbershops. That's the business model, and I did it when I was a ballroom dance teacher. We would have one big giant beautiful ballroom and we'd each rent it and have our own businesses. And I said, well, this is a great model, but let me do it for planners. So now I've already signed several people up, and I have two different versions of the program. And one is called the Home Based Partner Program, designed for planners to have full access to the building. They can meet clients there. They can use the space to take content pictures. They have access to all of my inventory and florals, so they can go nuts and play and have fun with it and set things up and, just up level their business. They also have access to some of my pros and my team and meetings twice a week for coaching and sales techniques and other things to help them strategize and grow their business, and access to one of my marketing ladies who is a genius when it comes to branding and everything marketing. So I'm basically just growing this beautiful collaborative venue for planners. So I'm really excited about it. And then I also have a version of the program that's either like a lower entry level. So that way, if they're not quite at that like full access level yet financially, they have another option to kind of come in a little lower. And some of them still have full-time jobs, so they just don't need all of the access. But there's several people on that one too. And that's good for DJs, planners, photographers, videographers, caterers. They just want space like 10 hours a month to come in and play and do client meetings. Some of them bring their team in for meetings. Then they don't have to rent an office that's really not serving them, right?
Yeah.
They have a whole beautiful venue to play in. So I'm so excited about it because once this is running really well, it can scale very easily. That's what I could see scaling. I was like, I'm just going to copy and paste this and teach other venue owners how to do this because it's passive income throughout the week. And then all of your planners love your space so much. They want to rent it. They want to rent my inventory and they get discounts on all of it. So it's like win, 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 win all
Yeah.
around. It's this big circle and nothing makes me happier. They all promote me online. I promote them. We're all good friends now. And it's no longer this solopreneur feeling or this competitive feeling. It's just collaboration.
Yeah.
So,
And I think sometimes we don't, I remember when I had a retail store and I had this like 10-foot front window. And I remember going, like, I feel like half my stock would be in this window to try to advertise it. And I went around to the other businesses on the street and I was like, hey, I have this gigantic window and I really need help setting it up. And so, like, they did it. Like, they did my display. I had like tables from the furniture store and
oh,
I had like
awesome.
the florist would come and like put different, and I would just have like little cards like this table available for purchase, or like this, you could take this bouquet home. And it was really, really great because I was getting like this beautiful decor for my front windows,
Yeah.
which was attracting customers. And, they were having a different place to sort of display what they wanted. And, we're
It's
seeing
beautiful.
that type of collaborations happening more and more, right? Like we're seeing it. I, was just out on, to do a speaking engagement, and in the hotel, like everything was for sale. And I was like, at first I was like, that's weird. And then I was like, no, that's brilliant. Like you could buy the lamp if you really liked it. And it
Wow.
was a really nice lamp, I will say. But there was like, it was like, I was like, at first I was like, oh, this is like super, super weird. But then I was like, you know what? If you, there, like, there's so many times you've gone somewhere and you're like, I really like that. Like, I wonder where they got it. You can just take it home with you, right? Even
That's
the robes,
amazing.
even the robes were for sale. Like, they're like, you want our towels? Like, we'll sell you everything. It doesn't, like, if it's
That's funny.
it was like,
Wow.
yeah, and they too had like their, like usually go into a hotel room and everything is like the same dresser, the same, right? But it was like people who like they're like people in the neighborhood who did like DIY. So all the dressers were unique. And it was
Oh, how
really like
cool.
I really enjoyed my stay there because I was like, it was fun to like, you walk past a room and like the maids in there and I'd be, what dresser's in there? It made me want to go back and stay for sure. So I thought, at first it's so funny that sometimes at first we're like, oh, that's kind of weird. But it was a model that was really working. And I think, that thinking outside of the box and just, like you're doing of how can you think differently about the things that you need for your business to bring that in? Because like you said, not only are you helping them, but now you have this huge collective group that is helping each other and promoting each other. And,
Mhm.
you kind of create that Rolodex or that list of people that you could be like, oh yeah, go to this person because you know their quality, you know what they're due, and your referrals mean something.
Yeah, it's everything. And I've actually been able to teach people how I prefer to do referrals, and then that helps them promote each other better. So, for instance, when we had this big collaborative collective, I wanted to pitch this program to everyone. And I was like, well, how am I going to do that in a really kind way that's going to make a big impact and still help them? Because I'm a big believer that offering a lot of stuff for free and something that's really quality and that they're going to remember is so important because they deserve it. Everyone deserves that. So I made them a beautiful party, but my caterer offered to bring food and my dessert lady offered to bring dessert. And then I had 7 photographers volunteer. And some of them have been in the business forever and others were newer. So it was such a cool way for all of them to practice their skills and be able to get their own headshots and photos. So everybody got beautiful branding photos. Everyone got headshots, photos, like, and my only rule was, first of all, they had to give me all of their information, website, Insta, all of that stuff, all their socials, so that way I could give everybody that came to the event a full list. So it wasn't just me as the venue owner and the planner of this
Yeah.
event that got
Here's
everyone's
my info.
information. And then everybody else is like running around trying to give each other cards and like speed networking. And I'm like, I don't want that at all. I want them to come and enjoy themselves. They get the list before they even got there. So they didn't have to have that pressure. And like everybody got gorgeous headshots and photos and all kinds of stuff. And my only request is that they tag every single person there in the first like week of photos that they did. And then everybody got these massive Instagram followings and Facebook followings and like just, huge collaborative posts. And they were loving it. And they're still going to talk about it. And like everyone I talk to has work and we've been scheduling one on ones and having a really great time. So instead of me just taking on one client, I'm talking to planners that are going to give me work forever doing decoration. So it's been a game changer for sure.
And do you find, because I think sometimes people are, I don't want to say like out for themselves, but they feel like, oh, I can't ask for somebody else to do this because that business is trying to have money, trying to make their own money. And so they kind of just sort of pigeonhole themselves. When you were asking everybody, was everybody like excited about it? Or like, did you have sort of that pushback? Because I think people worry about the pushback.
Right. I mean, I'm I think people in my network are used to me now, and I have had this collaborative nature for a while. So a lot of them didn't understand what I was doing. And they were like, and why? Like, why is it free, Karen?
Right.
Why? And I'm like, because I'm going to pitch my programs for about 10 minutes. And I just want you to have an experience that you're actually going to remember. And they were like, they were still a little wary of what I was up to. And everyone that came gave me just amazing feedback. But I get that. And it's usually with like newer people, newer businesses that honestly, everything's so new to you. Like all of the dealing with the clients and trying to figure out your finances and trying to keep things organized. And then maybe you get an employee or two. And at that time, like everything is really tight because you are fighting for every lead you're getting and you don't have a lot of traction yet. So I can see why the mindset starts that way. But I would encourage anyone, especially if they're in newer businesses or if they've been in business a long time and they're kind of at a plateau, to get out there and meet your collaborators, your friends, your networks, your competitors. Yeah, I put that in quotations just to be clear. I don't think anyone is your competition. You have people that you can compare yourself to in your industry to kind of get a feel for the market, but everybody's so different. And I think that you have to lean into what makes you unique. I think you need to lean into thinking outside the box and coming up with your own ways to do things. And don't be afraid to do something really different because people remember it. It's important.
Yeah. And I love that because I totally agree with you that your only competition is your last day sales. Like I always go, that's the only thing that you're competing with is
Yeah.
yesterday's sales or what you did yesterday because I think it's true. There's, throughout my whole career there was times where I would have people come to me and I'd be like, "Hey, when I learned who I wanted to take and I set, like you were saying, I set those minimums for myself, I was able to then give somebody else work, which was great because then when either like it just always came back. It's always come back to me. Whether it's that, client that I sent away at the beginning and said, like, here's somebody who would work better. Then all of a sudden their business like shot up and they grew. And then they're like, hey, now I need you because I'm at that level. Or it was just getting referrals from that person who said, hey, I can't do this client. I'm full, or I don't know how to deal with them. And they would pass it up to me. And then it was like a lot easier because I was getting who I wanted when I wanted, kind of thing.
Yeah, it really does work that way. And even within my team, I get clients sometimes where personality wise, it doesn't work because I'm like a really straightforward to the point person and I'm artistic. So if I get a client who's very cautious or needs extra details or really needs like pictures and photos and the full design done for them in order to trust that, I don't work as well with them because I'm like, well, listen, I don't have time to actually do all of that stuff, but I promise you I'll do a great job and I'll show up that day and give you everything you want and more. But if I get a client that's challenging for me, that doesn't mean it's going to be challenging for someone else. There's a lot of people I know that love to get into the details and do each step by step and explain every single part of the process. And one of those people on my team is Kelly. And so anytime I have a client that's like, personality is clashing, I'm like, okay, Kelly, that's your client because you have more time to delegate to that. And every client is very important to me. So I want to make sure they have the best experience. And it's not always with me. Sometimes they're just like really fun, party, outgoing, and they don't really care about the design as much. And they just like want to focus on other parts of the party. Then they're with Bubba all the way. So like we are getting better within our team at doing that, but also with our extended network. There's stuff that like I don't want to offer like massive ceiling drapes all the time. Like I'd rather hire a company or refer the company to do that part of the job. Or, there's just a multitude of different services that we can offer now. And that's the gold. People don't want to have to like figure out each step of their wedding or their big party on their own. They don't know anything. They're
Yeah.
just bombarded by like massive amounts of social media posts and ads and weird stuff your phone picks up from AI. Like it's overwhelming. So when they find someone that they care about, that they trust, and a company that can back you up And then when they see that you're like, hey, I realize this isn't the perfect fit for you. You should go here. Or I have other friends that you can go to, like here and here. And then they're like, wow, I've never experienced that type of customer service before. And then all of a sudden they're sending their friends over for a baby shower or some other type of event to you. And it's really amazing how that works for you because you
Yeah.
get your ideal clients every time.
And it's always really fun. I really love sending, especially if it's like somebody new or like new to me and sending them referrals because I'll always call first and be like, hey, are you taking anybody? I have this client. I think they would be perfect for you. And to me, it's always fun to hear the hesitation like, what? Uh, yeah. Okay. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to send them over right away. Like, what's your minimum or like, what is your deposit or whatever the case may be, depending on what it is. But it's just kind of like, it's become a fun game to me now. Going,
Yeah, it is
how much can I,
fun.
because I get the shock of like, why are you like, what's wrong with them? Why are you sending this person to me?
Yeah,
And
why are
it's
you
like,
sending them to me?
it's okay. It's not an X. I'm not offloading onto you. I'm not being like, this is your nightmare now, you know? But I love too that you built your team with people who are different and deal with things different than you, because I think that's important too, because like you said, as opposed to having to then send them out because everybody on your team works the same way as you're able to kind of keep it within, your team, but still offer a different way of working for those different clients, like the one who needs more hand holding or the one who can take a stronger, more assertive, coach or whatever. Was that
Mhm.
intentional or did that just kind of happen for you?
Well, it was intentional because I am really artistic and I am pretty ADHD, I guess. I mean, a lot of people are these days. I think it's a gift though, because I can really see a bigger picture and I can see the whole process, and I'm really good at leading my team. But sometimes, if I were a man, I would be considered a dick. Yes. I just want, like, to cut to the point, like, I want things done, and I'm very fast, like, I think really fast, and sometimes it's just way too intense for people. And I know my personal partner, like my life partner, my hubby is Bubba, and he's completely opposite. Like he is very slow to react. He like slows way down and processes things before he even speaks. And he's just got like this really fun, easygoing personality, but he's also really good at following the rules and the structure. So that works really well because he takes on clients that I'm like, I don't even know where to start. And then Kelly is really funny because she's super outgoing and super people pleasing, almost to a fault. I have to actually tell her to like calm down a little bit with like how much she wants to do for people, but it's such a gift. And especially as a planner, like it's the best personality ever. But I have to like calm her down and tell her when she's doing too much or overdoing herself or just, getting taken advantage of a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there's Katie, she's the youngest, she's kind of like the Tweedledee on the team, like, just starting out, but she takes on so much of my grunt work right now that she is going to be the absolute most fantastic planner, superstar of all, and they've all kind of been in that position at one point, but they can handle it, so they stay and they love it, and there's more on our extended team too, but, I mean, those are the people I see the most often. And
Well,
they are all very different.
I think it's important to also know like who you are, because I remember starting out in business, like I think back to like who that person was. And I started off like as an accountant, right? And this
Wow.
is this is going back like a lot of years, like 1998. So it was a very male dominated industry. It was very like you sit behind a giant oak desk and every word that comes out of your mouth is large words and stuff that is not understood. And it took me a long time to go, this is dumb, because nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about. And I just see these people's eyes glazing over, like I feel like I know what she is talking about, but I don't. And I knew I was leaving a lot of people walking out confused, right, but scared to ask because they don't want to look stupid, right? And it was like
Right.
really coming into like changing that. And so when you were telling the story about you and your husband, I'm at the point where my husband is the one who'll be like, soften. Like you just hear him go, soften, soften,
Soften a little bit.
soften, because
Yes.
he's the one who will be like, okay, I see where you're coming from. And have you ever thought, this way? Or, he's really good for the employees of doing that, where I'm like, that's dumb. That's dumb. And
That's
here's
dumb.
why
I
it's
don't
dumb.
wanna do that.
Right? So there are times where that is needed. I am needed, that he'll be like, you need to go in. You need to go in and say it, say it as it is. I have that like same personality, but it's really, understanding who you are and taking that time. And I think a lot of that happens with, just like you said, having the morning routines, knowing what works for you and what you need, making sure that you have days that you are like, look, this is non-negotiable. I need to be this creative. I need to be in a creative space, because I think it doesn't matter what business you own, you have to get into a creative space with it. Do you agree with
Yeah.
that?
I agree. You have to get into your flow mode. And I actually made those rules for the whole team. I said, you need to put it in your calendar because I don't want to interrupt you when you're like in this batch of whatever you're doing. I mean, sometimes it's client work, sometimes it's creative work, sometimes it's whatever. But if you're in flow zone, I don't want to bug you. So you can just tell me to go away and to email you later. And they're like, oh, I can tell you that? And I'm like, yes. I want you to tell me that because the more that you're in that state of mind, doing things that are for the business, the more money you're making here. So it's really, really important that you feel good there. Plus, you want to feel good at work. You want to feel important. You want to know that your role matters and counts. So, just being a leader in my business, that is something I have to constantly work on, constantly grow myself, make sure that I'm healthy, that I'm strong, that my mind is calm and clear and collected, and that I'm continually learning the skills that I'm lacking. There's stuff that I'm just still not good at. And of course, I delegate it, but I still need to learn more about it so I can delegate it better. And I use all kinds of systems and tools to help me. One is definitely chat. Chat has been a huge, like, little helper, like a little
Yep.
assistant that you can kind of be mean to, and it doesn't matter. But it's so good at
I
like
have
taking my
literally typed,
brains up.
yeah, make this nicer. This is what I
Yeah.
want to say. Make it nicer.
Make this sound like less evil
Yeah.
and not so direct. And
This is what I want to say, but make it so that I'm not a dick.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's such a great tool. I mean, it's great for coming up with recipes because you're bored and you're sick of eating the same food, or you want to diet and it gives you like lists of things you want to know there. But as far as business, I mean, writing SOPs for me is kind of like ripping off one nail one
I'm
at a time. It is just not something I enjoy doing. And I'm sure a lot of people feel this way, but maybe not everyone. Some people love it. They relish in it. Like if you were an
Yeah.
accountant, you might be one of those. I don't know. I'm not good with numbers either. I get it in my head, but on paper, I really need help with that. So I have people that I pay to help me do that stuff. There's nothing wrong with admitting where you are not as strong so you can focus, like delegate that stuff, understand it, stay organized, don't avoid it. You have to still deal with it and then focus on the things you're best at that make your business the most money. But with SOPs and things like that, or just organizing my day or time blocking things or giving my team like the massive list of things that have to happen this week and then putting it in order that makes sense to real humans, well, that's what chat's for. And I realized something about myself that I don't always explain things properly because if chat, the most intelligent non human thing on the planet, still doesn't give me good prompts back or good answers, well, then I'm not saying things properly. So it's actually made me better at leading my team because I realize I have to actually say every word that's in my mind and make it very clear so they understand what I want them to do. And I didn't realize how bad I was at that until I started talking to a computer.
Well, and I think it's a lot of entrepreneurs, especially when you start building getting a team on. The biggest thing, in my coaching is that I go, you forget that you have the 25 years of experience in your head, and the person that you're your onboarding does not.
Yeah, they don't know
when you're
anything yet.
when you're telling them something, they're like, what? It makes perfect sense to you because you've been doing it a long time or you have the experience behind it. So I always, my favorite prompt is explain this as if I'm describing it to a 13-year-old. I use that in chat GPT a lot because
Yeah.
it really makes it so that it's simple. And I go, oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If a 13-year-old can understand it, that's great. Okay. And then the way it describes it, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I get a lot of my staff were like, oh, okay, that's what you mean.
Right,
Like,
right.
where I'm like,
And
no, just
it's
put it in this folder. And they're like, what are you talking about?
what folder? Yeah, yeah, I know. Everybody's got their own version of organization. I said, well, just make your own Google Drive. Don't mess with mine
Yeah.
because mine's crazy, but it makes sense to me, but it's totally crazy. And they can't stand it. I said, well, make your own then. And
Yeah.
then we have like a collaborative, set of SOPs and structure. But after a while, you've been there long enough, you kind of start doing it your way, right? And
Yeah.
I embrace that. I have the rules there so we can train people and onboard them and so that we are all following a guideline. But ultimately, I do want everyone to do it their way with their personality and their skill set because the way I close someone in a sale is not the same way that I expect Kelly would or Bubba would or Katie. Like
Yeah.
everyone's got to have their own style and be unique. So it's interesting when I've done a lot of different sales training workshops and classes and courses and all of that, and I've been doing sales forever. It's real natural to me, but whenever I try and teach it, I really make sure I like really hit that on the head for them because I don't want them to just read a script. I give them bullet points. I don't want them
Yeah.
to try and do what I do because I'm going to be a lot more confident in something I've been selling for 20 years than they are if they did it 3 times. So they're supposed to kind of work their own angles, you
Yeah.
know?
And I think you have to have that personality. Like I said, that personality is so important in how you do everything, but it has to be your personality because,
Right.
like Sierra, who is on my team, is very, I don't want to say she's docile, but like she's very calm. She's very sweet. She's like so sweet and so kind. And I'm like, I just adore her. If she were to try to sell like me, she would feel so disgusting.
Yeah,
Because I'm very
totally.
like blunt and to the point, and I will say like this works, this doesn't, this is where you're screwing up, this is why you need help, like, but that's not her way. And so I agree with you, it's
Right.
really important to find what way feels genuine to you, that you can go back and go, oh, that feels good. I don't feel like I was just a used car salesman pushing a lemon onto somebody, right? Or she always
Yeah.
goes like, I'm so grateful that you let me sell and close the way I like to sell and close, because otherwise I kind of felt like I was knocking on people's door trying to sell them Tupperware. I was like,
Right.
I get
It's
that.
so
I totally get
important.
that.
It's so important to just embrace that and embrace people's personalities and kind of to treat them like kids because, like you said, they're new to whatever you're doing. Or even if they have years of experience in other stuff, they're new to how you want things done. So you really have to kind of, um, you know, eh, put it into these micro steps for them to follow so that they feel really competent and confident. It's all about confidence, really. And sales is just helping people and
Yeah.
exchanging money for it. And that's something that people forget too. They're like, "Oh, I feel like I'm like money is always such a hard conversation." I've done a lot of work around that too, and I've done a lot of work for my team around that too because if you have that poverty mindset or that scarcity mindset, you're not going to do as well because you're always feeling like it's bad to ask for money or that you don't deserve money and
Yeah.
money will not flow to you if you have that mindset. So that's another really important thing that I would definitely want to touch base on at some point with you, but I don't know how much time we have.
No, yeah, go ahead. Because I think it's an important topic. I think, in dealing with money myself and past businesses and just being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, that feels like weird. Like I can't, can I ask that? Like when can I raise my price? And I always say, as soon as somebody buys it at that price, you could raise it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think when you're new and you're doing something you really love, it's like hard to charge money for the thing that you love. But the fact is, not nobody knows how to do what you do. So they're happy to pay you. Just like
Yeah.
you go to the grocery store and you expect to pay for groceries. Like they don't come to you for a service or something that you're good at and like not expect to buy something. That's silly, right? So like when we're doing lots of tours, weddings take more time. So people get discouraged because they're like, "Oh, well they didn't buy in their first time." I'm like, yeah, but their wedding's in 2 years and they want to go look at 20 venues before they make a choice. It's a really big investment. So take that into consideration, think about that when if you were in their shoes and, or if you are going to make a big purchase like a car, you're usually going to not just buy the first thing that you see. You're going to do more research. You're going to go check out other cars, other lots, other places. But ultimately, if they like you, they're probably gonna come back or they're gonna remember you, and as long as you're following up with them and you're being genuine and consistent or offering them other solutions if we're not a good fit, then that's it. That's all you can do. But coming back to money and money mindset, I didn't realize how much of a problem I had with accepting money until I got deeper into more hypnosis stuff or I started plateauing in my business and like there were more people working, but there wasn't any more money, and then there was obviously less profit, and, even in the beginning, like, not paying myself, and, I
Mhm.
was like, "Well, what is wrong with me that I think that I'm supposed to just work for free and give away all my money, like, into the wind
Yeah.
all day, every day? Like,
Which is
what
so
is
common.
It's so common, and, I mean, you do have to do that sometimes if you're going through some weird moments in your business, but you're supposed to save for those moments and pay yourself for those moments and, like, have all of that backing you up, not just be like, "Oh, no." So, I definitely in the beginning had a lot more of these struggles, and I did some more deep work for it because I was like, "Well, what is it about money?" I had to, like, go back to when I was a kid, When I was a kid, my dad had a business, and it was very successful. He got it from my grandfather, but then there was always, like, arguments between the 2 of them because it was, like, a family business, and then it was like, oh, my dad had to fire his uncle, so they all hated him because of money, and, like, money was evil because he had it and other people didn't, and my mom was obsessed with money, but she was a gambler. So my mom gambled a lot, and, when money was great, it didn't really seem to matter and no one noticed, but when the business went under during like one of the worst financial crises we had when the stock market crashed and all of that, and they ended up getting a divorce and like there just was no more money, and my mom could never change that. She couldn't like wrap her brain around it, and so she was always in this like victim mindset and had like gambling issues, and I was the one that had to always take care of the family, and I was super young, so I was like working all these jobs and like supporting my mom, and then finding out she's like going to the casino or going gambling or like going to play bingo. And I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't pay the bills. Like, hello. So, I mean,
Electricity.
hello, yes, these things. And it was just like a lot of waste and a lot of that poverty mindset because that's how she grew up. I mean, I love my mom. God bless her, rest her soul. I love her to death. But she had those deep rooted issues too. And then my dad was just like not a nice person, and everyone really doesn't like him. And so when I thought of money, I thought like people with money were really not nice people. They were
Mhm.
snobs, they were rude, they were like not kind. So I never really had a desire to have a lot of money. And then with my mom, always just wasting money. I was like, the less money I have, the better. And I've had my own issues in the past with like drug and alcohol problems and all of that. So if I ever had money, it would go to waste,
Right.
similar to my mom. So, solving those problems and obviously having like complete sobriety now, I've dealt with those problems on so many multiple levels, but still having the business and being successful, there were still little bits of me that felt like either I didn't deserve it
Mhm.
or that if I got it, it was just gonna go away. Or if I got too much, then maybe I was gonna be mean. But that's not me at all. I'm super generous. I'm super loving. The more money I make, the more I can hire more people. And I had to keep reminding myself this: the more money that I make, the more I can take care of my family, the more time I can spend with my family and the quality time. The more money I make, the more that I can help my community and do more fundraisers and be more inventive with my time. The more, like I just kept coming up with more reasons that I want to make more money, and most of them had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But but nothing is as cut and dry as, like, when you're little, all of these things your imagination will remember about money, and most of it's
Yeah.
not true. You only wanna take financial advice from people who are doing way better than you. We
Yeah.
always take advice from, like, our friends or family or whatever, and most of them are broke. So why would we take money advice from them, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy, but we do it because we forget. The best way to make more money is to be around more people who don't have that poverty mindset.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be rich, but they have to be wealthy at heart. They have to be at peace. They have to feel safe. They have to not be freaking out
Yeah.
about money all the time.
Well, and I remember, years ago kind of having that sort of aha moment because I remember first in my career, that was it, right? Like my goal was really to make as much money as I possibly could. And I did really good at it.
Yeah.
But it sort of changed over time when I remember sort of having, becoming an adult and having a conversation with my mom because everybody used to be like, you must be so lucky though, because you come from money, because my mom sailed. She lived on a sailboat with my dad for like 20 years. And they're like, oh, but you come from money. And I remember saying to mom, like, do we come from money? Because I don't really remember that, but I don't know. I had a good childhood, right? And she was like, oh my God, do you remember those nights that we used to like eat pancakes for supper? And I was like, that was great. She was like, it's because I couldn't afford meat. Like, right. But I was like, didn't know, like, had no idea. Right. And I
Right.
remember kind of going like, well, you must be like kind of really good now. And she's like, listen, wealth does not equal money in the bank. She goes, you have to decide what wealth means to you. She's like, right now, there are some days where your dad and I will go and split like a hamburger and like a beer because we only have like the $5 extra to like go out and eat. Like that, but we also are living on a boat in the islands. Like it's so
Yeah.
we feel very wealthy when we're sitting on the edge of a dock with our feet in the ocean, like seeing this miraculous, beautiful scene around us and meeting these amazing people. Yeah, I feel really, really rich, even
Yeah.
though I'm, pinching money to make sure we, can get by and that we do have enough. And so that really kind of flipped the script in my head of going, okay, instead of just making it all about the numbers in the bank, I want to think of what is going to make me feel wealthy. And,
Right.
over the years that has changed. Like to me, wealth is getting a bill in the mail and like being able to go, oh, okay, and just like go and pay it.
Yes.
Right. And when I sort of
That's it.
change that narrative of going, hey, let's make this about what's going to make me feel really, really good. The fact that
Yeah.
I can go out and like, if I see something that I really like, like I always say, wealth years ago became walking into Costco and going, "Ooh, I like that." And I know if I don't buy it now, it's not going to be here, in a couple of days. Like I remember feeling so rich walking out of the store going, "Oh my God, like I was able to buy this kayak just to be able to buy it." Like I was like, "Oh."
Right.
And I mean, it wasn't thousands of dollars that I was spending, but just that I knew that I had built that freedom and I had built that what felt wealthy to me was different. So I love, and I really want our listeners to remember that and thank you for that, your
Mhm.
story too of going, you know pick a mindset that works for you so that it's not, money is not a dirty thing. It's not greedy to ask for what you're worth. um
Yeah.
and and I always remember one of my coaches saying, stay out of people's wallets. Stop projecting what your thoughts are onto them, because one person might find, paying money for like a wedding absolutely ridiculous. And another person might be like, you do it.
Yeah.
I have no desire to DIY it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I just want to show up and enjoy it. Lovely. Perfect. Wonderful. And that's the person you're going after. Like, it's okay that some people will find you expensive. That's
Right,
that's
right.
their choice of wealth, not yours.
Yeah, and honestly, we just have to get more creative about putting ourselves in front of the audience that we want to serve. That's
Mhm.
the most important thing. And in the beginning, you're kind of like scraping and you're like, I'll do anything just to get some good pictures and some social media posts. And that's okay. But when I changed the way I thought about that, I still want to do that. I still want to build, especially with my newer brand. And I want to get into more venues and see more people. And I love to work. I don't like to just show up and hang out. I don't party. I don't like I'm not that person, so I'd rather, like, kind of be behind the scenes, set things up, and just kind of, like, be there and meet people, but I don't wanna be, like, in the party. So, I do a lot of stuff for free still, but I choose my audience. I'll
Mhm.
do it with my vendor community, anything they need. I'll do it in any venue if they wanna expand their decor, and I'll do it for any big fundraiser. But I'm not just doing it for any Joe Schmo who calls me and asks me for free stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like, they have to do something for me too. And I make sure I bill it out. I make sure that they see what I'm worth. And I make sure that they're going to do something kind for me or just to remember it. Like, hey, I did this and it was valued at $5,000. So I want $5,000 worth of marketing or whatever's free to you to give
Yeah.
to me. Or, five handshakes with people who you think might want my services. Sometimes that's enough. So, you just have to decide what that is for you. And as far as prosperity and wealth, yes, I have a triangle I go off of, and the top of that is my family. As long as my family is safe and healthy and happy and has what they need, that is like everything to me. And then, of course, business is over here. Business is super important. Making sure everything is running there, but it's not just like the money with business. It's that the clients are happy, the team is happy. There's a whole big section of business, but then we always forget about ourself. And if you
Mhm.
don't have yourself okay and happy and knowing who you are, what you believe in, leaning into your stories, that's part of you, leaning into what makes you unique and different, then you're just not going to be okay. And then the other pieces will fall apart. So, setting boundaries, making sure all of that stuff actually happens, and not forgetting about yourself. We always really undercut ourselves, don't we?
Well, and I think it's because sometimes, we don't wanna seem egotistical or, all those words come out, you know? It never somebody's usually never like, "Oh, she's confident." You know? It's always like, "She thinks highly of herself." Like, and I'm like, "That's fantastic." I remember seeing a reel once of a lady, somebody like, she was in an interview, I don't even remember who it was, and somebody was like, "Oh, so, like, how are you today?" And then, like, they hand her the mic, and she's like, "Successful, thank you." And I was like, "I have never forgotten that." And I was like, "But she
That's
just said it, like,
awesome.
as if she was saying, 'I'm fine.'" And I was like,
Yeah,
"I love that for you." Like,
I
that is
love
perfect. We
that.
need to do that more often of being like, "Yeah, I'm great." Like, and
I'm
also
awesome. Yeah.
the other side of it is, like, also knowing when you're not to be okay going, "I need help. Like, I'm struggling. I need help." And the more I've said that, the more that people are like, "Oh my god, I will come and help you." Like, "Yeah, what do you need?" Like, like, we'll figure something out. So I think we need both. We need to be okay to be confident and say, like, "I'm doing fantastic. Look at me." And that other side of us that says, "Hey, could you help me? Like, I need help. I need your advice. I need your expertise." Because there's always somebody who's looking up to you. Just
Oh,
as you're
yeah.
looking up to somebody else, there's always somebody. My dad used to always say, "Be nice when you're climbing over people up the ladder, because those are the same asses you might have to kiss on the way back down."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, I
That
will
is
always remember
beautiful.
that."
Yes, that's so beautiful. Of course, I used to be like really shy about posting anything good I was doing. And now I'm like, you know what? I get a way better reaction than I expected. I think because my family was always very like, meh, judgmental
Yeah.
growing up. So
You
I
think
just
good of
thought that like
yourself.
I should be, yeah, exactly that. But with the community that I've built for myself, everyone's so supportive because I'm supportive of them. So why would I expect that they'd be any different towards me? And if they
Yeah.
don't like me, then hey, that's okay. I'm trying to attract the people who are confident, who work all the time, who want someone who knows what they're doing. So I want to show them, hey, this is me. I'm confident and I know what I'm doing in this field, not in everything, but in this field. And it was very hard for me to ask for help with anything. But now, I mean, I pretty much laid it out. There's a lot of things I'm not great at. But people, like, unless you ask, they have no idea. Because there's so many people that do look up to me for advice or for this or, think I have it all figured out. People think I'm rich because I have like a venue and businesses and stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm not like rich. I'm not rolling it. I have a lot of bills and responsibilities. Like, I'm not like this
Yeah.
is a free money hanging out everywhere. It's all invested.
I bathe in it.
Um, I just like hang out and roll in it in my free time. Like, but people have a misconception of that too. But you just have to tell them, like, yeah, no, I'm not paying for dinner. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't realize you expected me to pay for dinner for everyone at your party. Like, no, it's okay to just say no. And that was a poor example, but I mean, other stuff that you're struggling in with business, you should always ask for help. And don't always be the smartest person in the room. You're not going to grow like that. I
Yeah.
like to be in rooms full of people who scare the crap out of me, who I'm very intimidated by. And then once you start meeting them, you level yourself up because you become more like them. You start behaving more like them. You expect more. You're like bare minimum of what you would expect in your life raises up a little bit more, and it doesn't mean you just leave people behind. You still love them, care about them. You just may spend a little less time with them. We just get busy, right? So
Yeah.
then you kind of get to that next level. And then you start saying, well, I know pretty much everything that you guys know now. We are peers. Time to find someone that's like super genius over here. And then you start, getting into that community and you're just going to keep growing and learning and growing and learning. And my favorite thing to do is bring my favorite people up with me. So,
Yeah. Yeah, because then we all grow together. And I always say, like, it's so much more fun to, succeed with other people than by yourself because it's very lonely up there.
I know it's boring all by yourself. It's no fun. No fun.
And I always say, do your research too when you are looking at that expansion because there's so many times in business that people are like, oh, like I want to make $1 million. And I go, why? Like, what are you prepared to give up? And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, you have to give up something. Like you want 30 employees underneath you. I've been there. What are you willing to give up? Because there's more time, there's more effort, there's more stress. Like every single employee has like another life you're responsible for. That's a lot. That
Hmm.
can be a lot, and then they kind of go, oh, and I'm like, okay, so let's go back to the wealth thing and stop
Right.
making it about a dollar amount and what truly is it that you're wanting because maybe that's it and that's fine if it is but really really think about that and really look like what is behind the scenes, what is behind the curtain that I don't know about. And I always think of a story. One of my clients really wanted to open up a bar and then did, and then I was like, um have you thought about this? Like, let's go and see the other side of it. No, 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 it'll be fine. And then, 3, 4 months in, was like, there is a lot of babysitting. And I'm like, you thought I was going to just be sitting behind the bar having drinks with your buds, didn't you? And he's like, I'm so sorry I didn't listen to you. I'm like, that's okay. But now we know. So let's deal with it. Like, it's not all rainbows and sunshines. And sometimes
Right.
when we start businesses, we're like, this is going to be fantastic. But you're like, ask somebody, find somebody who's willing to show you the other side of it and go, love it. But here's some things that you should be aware of, or here's some things that
Right.
you might not have thought about that, are going to come up. It's going to be a stressful because it's easier to go, oh, I heard this was going to happen, you know,
Right.
that
Right.
3-year lump that you're like, this is it? Is this it? Like I always say, about 3 years in, you're going to start questioning all of your life choices. Totally
Yes.
normal, totally okay. Nobody will talk about it, but it happens.
Right. I mean, like weekly, you should have a moment where you're like, oh man, why did I sign up for this? You're doing it right. Like, I think
What have I gotten
Layla,
myself into?
yeah, Layla Hermosi, I listen to them a lot, her and Alex, and she's always like, having a business is like eating glass, and whoever can eat the most glass wins. And I'm like, Yes,
That's a good
bravo.
depiction of it, yeah.
Because it's a fact. And, everyone thinks it's going to be so easy and, oh, I get to work for myself and da da da. But even when you do make all the money, you still have all the same problems. Everything is relevant, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was a dance teacher, I made like 30 or $40,000 a year. And now I have to make that at least that in a month or twice that in a month. And you know what? It feels exactly the same.
Yeah.
It feels the same.
I love that.
I'm just
Karen,
responsible for way more people.
way more people, yeah. More stress. Oh, this has been such a great conversation, Karen. Tell us, okay, shameless plug time. What do you have coming up? What is going on with you?
Oh, I have so many things coming up, but I will say my favorite thing that I have coming up is all of the holiday decor and holiday designs and installs. And I actually just came up with tablescape totes, which is really cute. And it's a pre-packaged in a tote, perfect tablescape for like 8 guests at your Thanksgiving dinner table or your, holiday Christmas table. But my favorite thing is to like design all the trees and do the mantelpiece and do like, the big install. So we have packages for all of that. Check out our website on joebelldesigns.com. Um, Weddings, events, parties, all of that, we can do it. But holidays are my favorite because I just remember doing that with my mom. So
Oh, I love that. I'm the same way. I like get giddy and I'm like the one who's like looking in people's windows. Ooh, I like that.
yes, I
That's so
want to
pretty.
do all of the windows. I want to do all the windows this year. So if you have a business or if you have a home or whatever that you want me to design for you, or if you're far away, I can ship you a really cute tablescape in a box or it's tablescape tote.
Tote.
Tablescape in a box is taken. Thought it was my idea.
Yeah.
Was not my idea. It's been done.
So, just before I let you go, if you could leave everybody with one piece of advice that you wish you would have known sooner, what would that be?
Well, I think in business, you forget that the next step is just not the end and that you're going to keep growing if you're doing it right. And at each point that you get to, there's a whole nother list of things that you have to learn. So I think in business, we always get goals where we're like, if I hit this, I'm going to be really happy. If I hit this, I'm going to be really happy. If I get here, I'm going to be really happy. And you are happy and you should be proud of yourself, but just know that every time you get to that next step, there's going to be a whole nother list of things that happen. So just make sure that whatever you're doing, you actually are keeping organized, you keep your money tight, and you're remaining profitable. Make sure you're saving because there's always seasons where things go weird. And most importantly, follow all of your brains, the brain upstairs, your heart brain, and your gut. My mom always said, go with your gut, kid, follow your dreams, and think big. And she was right. You got to do all those things.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
What a fantastic episode. I connected with Karen so much, and I know that there's a lot of you that are listening that did too. I hope her last message of, really being aware that as you move up in business, there's always something new that you need to learn. There's always going to be goals that you're trying to hit. There's always going to be another plateau or another place that you want to get to. And that's okay. That's what it's all about. That's what keeps it interesting, but really centering yourself. So I want to encourage you, if you don't already, create a schedule that works for you. Create routines that you're going to do that are benefiting you, whether that's like Karen does of doing hypnosis or having a 5 a.m. ritual where you just have time, whether it's having your maker days or empire days. Just really sit down and go, what do I need so I can keep being creative? I can keep being engaged and I can keep being that fun loving person who just can't wait to get to work every day, because that is going to get you through a lot of rough times. And if there's anything that you need help with, I want you to reach out. If there's something that you're like, oh, I wish I knew more about this, or I wish I had, more information, or you know what, I just need help in this. I want you to send me a message and let me know. Either I will help you Or I will reach out to my vast contact list and find somebody who's going to be able to give you the information that you want. Because as Karen was saying, collaboration is so important, but that starts with you actually first saying, I need help. That's how collaboration can begin. And you all know it's my favorite thing to talk about. So you can get tons of free information if you just drop that word. So I cannot wait for our next episode. We have so many amazing things that are coming up. I want to thank everybody who's already sent messages in saying, hey, I really want you to dive into this topic. We hear you, we've listened, and we have those episodes coming up. So make sure that you hit subscribe wherever it is that you're listening to us so that you don't miss an episode. And as I say at the end of every episode, always make sure that you're having fun, because if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?